My name is Dale Hawkins. I'm on the Google Maps platform, and I'm the Android DevRel team. And I've been doing Android for a lot of years. I started, like, my first apps that I wrote for Android happened to be map-based, and were on Cupcake, and were my own thing. And then I went from, so I started at Google working on 3D buildings for Google Earth. And from that, went to go on to build a bunch of first-party Android apps. And a few years ago, switched to the Android specialist on the Google Maps platform team. And I'm going to talk about none of that today. So let's talk about, of course, 2D maps have been out there for a long time, and these are great. They're easy to understand, they're easy to process. And if you're asking questions like, hey, I need a taco, where should I go to get the best taco around here? These are great. They're not going to overtax your phone. They're not going to have any of these problems. But what happens if you need something more, more than your local taco? You want the best taco, and that taco stand is on top of a mountain, and you want to know how difficult it's going to be to get there. So this is your destination, and 3D map tiles are going to help you get there and to understand that pathway way better than a 2D map. And I want to also tell you that I've been doing computer science for a long time, and I know one of the hardest problems in computer science is naming things, and I've solved that. I name everything after my dog. So this is Kokopelli's Rough Terrain Explorer, and this is the app that I was able to build in a few weeks' time using nothing more than agentic programming and a little bit of background knowledge about how 3D maps tile work. I want to tell you that the first version I built was pretty rough, but it was the learning experience. And then because it was built using vibe coding, I felt no loss, no aversion to just throwing it out. Take what I learned from it, toss out the code, and then start over and use that as my education. Because you really go to school on the first one. And so with AI, it's easy and cheap to build prototypes. So based on what I learned there, it follows the classic problem of building any problem, which, define the problem. This is where you're doing your requirements. We're going to build a plan. And because we have limited time, we're only going to talk about the web version. And again, I will point out I'm mostly an Android programmer. So we have some wonderful JavaScript experts here, and I am not one of them. And then we're going to have the AI do most of the work for us. So these are the main three features I want my app to work with. Many of you might be familiar with GPX files. They tell you where a path to follow, right? But a lot of the data that you get out there is kind of messy. It needs to get cleaned up. And so I don't have to do that myself. So we're going to have Gemini do that for us. Plus, I want to have an elevation plot, because that's the part that's hard. It's one thing to go 5 miles along the Hudson River here, but if you're going 5 miles up a mountain, that's a very, very different thing. And of course, I want to be able to do a flyby, a preview of the course that we're going to see. And one of the great features that has come out recently is the Grill Me feature of a lot of the agents out there. And this is where you get the agent to interview you, to ask you, like, what is it you're really trying to build? Because sometimes we don't even know. But the Grill Me feature, combined with what I learned from the first prototype, led me to what I feel is a really good requirement specification and a good early design. So this is the app with all the features turned on and what we actually end up building here. We've got this place where we can edit the course, we can bring it in. I wanted to have important features like this, warnings like, hey, this is a really steep climb. You should be prepared for this. Just be prepared to walk slowly and take your time getting up this thing. We can edit places along the way. This is actually a route in around Mount Blanc, where we're going to go this summer, and this is going to be a tough day. And then for places along the way, it's very important to know, like, hey, this place has food, there's water, there's all important restrooms. And this is the kind of information that we can add to the GPX file, which normally isn't there. And we just take this unstructured data plus our GPX file, send it off to the LLM, and this is what we get back. And so this is what it looks like when we're doing our course preview. So we get to see, like, this is, we can control the speed, we can control the camera range, and we can control the tilt to give you the kind of playback that you want to see. And we pause at each aid station just briefly to show you what's there. Like, this is just a viewpoint that's kind of nice. Here's the top of a mountain pass. We can get more details about it. There's nothing here but nice views. And this solidifies the whole adventure in my mind. And it can be a way to learn what you're getting into, but also like build excitement, you know, so you can preview and be prepared for what's coming your way. And this was one of the, so not only did I use Gemini to help build the app, I wanted to use Gemini within the app in order to help pull in the data and to clean it up, so that, because that's usually a lot of manual work. And this way, using this, I can pull in the route plus unstructured data and have it merge things together. And so I built a skill for that. And it knows how to handle GPX files. It knows how to do smoothing. It has a lot of the things that you'd normally want to do. And we can just take that data along with points of interest along the way and build an enriched data map that really informs like what you're going to be experiencing that day. And let's talk about like how difficult this was to build. So I built my first prototype, gathered information, was able to throw it out. And then it took me maybe about 30 hours of time with the AI, including the prototypes and throwing things out. And you know, we have something that probably would have taken me a couple of weeks at best to build by myself. And again, this is prototype code, but it really allows you to explore and to build something that you can turn into a real product at some point. And just as another example, even when I got here, I realized, hey, there's a feature I want to have that I haven't had a chance to build yet. And I want to have weather forecasting in this. And I was able to literally just tell anti-gravity to build this while I was having coffee and checking up on emails. And in that time, approximately 15 minutes, I had this whole other feature built into the app. And as the last, if you want to go out and play around with this code yourself, here's the link to the GitHub for the source code. Feel free to play around with it. It may or may not be working at any given time, depending on what I'm doing that particular day. But I can guarantee if you find some stable spot that it should work on your computer.
Thanks a lot.